Hey, everybody, welcome back to another fantastic edition of the His and Her Money Show, where we make it our business to help you take dominion over your money and your life. You could be a whole lot of places, but the fact that you're here with the His and Her Money Show, we want you to know that we're grateful to have your eyes and your ears, and we promise not to disappoint. We love talking about money, not in just the sense of management, not just in the sense of investing there. But hey, we like to talk about some different ways that you can make more of it. And we're going to be moving in that lane with today's episode. We have a very special guest waiting in the wings by the name of Ashley Kirkwood. And she's going to share some knowledge that you've probably been kicking around in your mind. Like, man, I wish I could be a speaker one day. I think I got something to say. I think I can inspire or help or educate or equip some people with the knowledge base that I have. Well, guess what? This episode's for you, because the truth of the matter is you absolutely can. You just need the right information, the right blueprint, the right strategy, and it can become a reality for you. And so we're going to be diving into that topic. And like we always tell you, get your pen and paper ready, man. Y'all know that we bring value on the His and Her Money Show. No fluff here. We give you the real deal so that you can get in motion. Get your notepad, get your notes app open, do something, because it's about to go down. Let's go get Ashley so we can hear all of her great wisdom on the matter. Hey, Ashley, welcome to the His and Her Money Show.
Hey, glad to be here. Excited about this conversation.
Man, I'm more excited than you. You don't even understand. When we first met, we met at a mutual friend's like going away party. And you introduced yourself. You just started talking. I was like, yo, this is dope. I didn't even think about all this stuff. You need to come on the show. And so we were able to make it happen. And I'm glad that we're able to make it happen. But before we dive into the heart of the matter, there could be some people being introduced to you for the first time right here and right now. So for them, can you say hello and then just kind of let them know what you all about?
Absolutely. So my name is Ashley Kirkwood. Myself, alongside my husband, run a company called Speak Your Way to Cash, where we help speakers, experts, entrepreneurs, authors, and visionaries to land large corporate speaking and consulting contracts and grow their business utilizing their voice. So that is what we do. We essentially teach you how to sell, right? Utilizing your natural gifts, your voice. We have a book, a podcast, and an event all under the name Speak Your Way to Cash. And I love what I do. So excited to be here. And prior to doing this, just as a little thing, I guess I'll give everyone, I'm also a lawyer. So I'm doing this as a speaking coach, a business consultant, but my background is in law.
Why are you so passionate about this? Because you're a lawyer, a big time lawyer. You went to law school. You did all the things to go into law. Then you practiced law, practiced it well, did well, earned well. And then somehow you got involved with speaking and it just blew your mind. Why? What's so good? What's so promising? What's here in this world of speaking? Because when you think of speakers, you think about people that you see on the internet, like one of my mentors, Dr. Eric Thomas, or maybe Tony Robbins or Bob Proctor. Just, it doesn't feel like it could be you. So how did you get to the point to where you thought, hey, this could be me too?
Yeah, I had the same thought as you. So I saw speakers, but I just thought it was something you do for fun because honestly, it came too easy. So for anyone out there that has a gift or a talent or a skill, and it's like, man, I love this. This is so easy for me, but I can't make a living doing this. I was right there. And I remember being in high school, meeting my first professional speaker and asking him, hey, is this what you do for work? And he was like, yeah, this is what I do for work. Like, this is my job. And I was like, oh, can I come on tour with you to speak? I'm a good speaker. And I was like in high school. He was like, no, ma'am, you cannot. Like, you absolutely cannot come on tour with me to speak. But that, I think, planted the seed. And my parents, they were like, oh, you're good at speaking. You have to be a lawyer, because traditional knowledge is like, if you're great at speaking, you're a great orator, you can debate, you need to be a lawyer. And so I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll just be a lawyer. And did all the things to become an attorney, graduated cum laude from Northwestern Law, worked at a large law firm, was making $300,000 as a federal trial lawyer. And I was doing a jury trial, and it was a federal jury trial, civil rights trial. And I was in the courtroom and I was prancing around the courtroom and I was changing the minds of the jurors. And the partner looked over at the other partner and was like, she's going to do all the cross examinations because she's great at this. Like the juries was like sleep when the other dudes were up. They would wake up when I got up there. And I started to realize it wasn't law, it was changing the hearts and minds of people with my voice. It was performing, it was advocating. And when I looked at all the areas, like everything that I was doing as an attorney, what I loved most was the advocacy, the performance, the changing the hearts and minds. And I'm like, well, I can do this without law. And if I could do more of this part of my job and less of the grueling reading 7,000 pages a night or writing, because for law, with federal law, I was doing 2% trials, 98% trial prep. And for most of my legal career, I was working 18-hour days. Like I would leave my husband to go to a trial. And I was like, all right, babe, I don't know when I'll be back, but I'll be back whenever the trial's over. So you don't know when you're going to come home. And I did not, like, I was a lawyer and didn't know that's how it worked. So I thought it was going to be totally different. I was like, okay, great. Well, I'm going to trial. When does it end? They're like, it ends when the trial ends. And I was like, what you mean when the trial ends? So I was constantly being like, all right, babe, I got to go. But the trial part of law was my favorite part. So on the one end, it's the most grueling. On the other end, it was the thing that lit me up the most, being in the courtroom, having the adrenaline, changing the hearts and minds, really advocating for our clients through voice and through storytelling, because great trial lawyers are storytellers. The boring ones are not, but like the ones who really make, TV that you all have heard of, Johnny Cochran, like they were storytellers. They were speakers. They were orators. And every great person that's ever led a movement was an orator. Like, and so that's the part of it that I wanted to do more of. So I, ended up leaving that job, went on a book tour, wrote a book called The Law School Hustle, which was about how I went from almost failing out of undergrad to graduating top of my class in law school. Like I really was not a great student in college, and I didn't even know what a report card looked like with my name on it and all A's. But one of my mentors told me, if you want to make money in law, you have to go to a good school and you have to get good grades. All of a sudden, my brain just started working the right way. Like it was just like, oh, okay. So I developed a system of how to do well in school that I followed myself and went from almost failing out to getting straight A's. And I didn't realize that by going through that process, so many other people needed to know what I was doing. And so I wrote it all in a book. But that book was what I used to start my speaking career. Originally, when I left my job, I bulk sold copies of that book to law schools and colleges across the country and started getting paid that way. Because I could print the book for like $2, $3, and I would sell the book for $20. And if they bought 500 copies of the book, I would come and I would tell them I'd waive my speaking fee. Well, at the time, I didn't even have a speaking fee. So I was just like, and I was like cold calling. I found an intern, someone that just knew me from law that really liked what I was doing there because I'd won some awards and done some big trials. And she would cold call with me. And that's how we started speaking. And eventually I was like, man, okay, I like this, but it's feeling a bit like trial, hopping on planes for a couple grand. Like it didn't make sense. And we flipped it and we're like, okay, what would it look like if we went to companies and provided holistic solutions where we were charging 50, 60, 70, 100,000 plus dollars, but I could do it virtually. I could license out my image. I could utilize what I learned as a lawyer to really help to grow this business in a way that didn't burn me out. And that's the system that we teach in Speak Your Way to Cash, is how to do that, how to use speaking as a sales tool, how to change the hearts and minds of people using your voice, and how to do it doing something that you absolutely love.
Good stuff, man. I'm curious, how can somebody determine within themselves or even recognize if they have the potential to have a speaking career of their own?
Well, one is, what do you have to say to the world that only you can say? And I think that even in entrepreneurship, and you may have found this as well, we start our planning backwards. It's like, what can I make money doing? Well, you don't even know all the ways to make money. So you're going to undersell yourself or undercut yourself. So if you start with, what message do I want to get out into the world? And then, why am I uniquely qualified to give that message? Then you can start to say, okay, is this message important enough to me to get out into the world? And if it is, then you're going to do whatever it takes to learn the marketing and the sales and the back end to get it out. And thinking through, really, what do people, the way that you figure this out, we talk about this in the Speak Your Way to Cash book, is go on Facebook, make a post. What are the 3 words that come to mind when you think of me? And people are going to start saying some things that you may already know or that you may not. And from there, you'll start to figure out your signature speech, your signature talk, what it is that people want to learn from you that comes easy to you, that everyone else sees as a gift that you may just see as like who you are. But that is, you just have to decide and then figure out what your message is, and then be so driven by getting that message out into the world that you figure out the back end elements of it so you can do it.
Now, you had a lot of uh, natural abilities that people recognized, even as a young person, because people saw that you were such a good communicator. They steered you in the direction of law while you were in law. You said the people would pay more attention when you were presenting versus the others. So you had a lot of natural ability when it came to speaking and communicating. How would you advise others to hone those natural abilities, to improve or mature those abilities to really become a high level speaker and really good at their craft?
I would say start learning from your environment. So, one of the downsides of having a natural gift is that you can sometimes think that it doesn't mean it needs to be developed. But for everyone who's naturally gifted at something, do not rest on that. You still have to practice it, hone it, do it, record yourself, critique yourself, read about it. Like there's no substitute for developing your skill. But what we can do when you want to be an orator, the great thing is everybody's talking around you. Everybody's talking to you. People call you. There's some people who call you and tell you a story over the phone. Maybe it's a cousin, maybe it's an aunt, maybe it's a brother, maybe it's a sister. And when they tell you a story, you love hearing their stories. You just love hearing Auntie. For me, it's like my Aunt Sharon. She is the best storyteller. And she's the best storyteller because she will make you cry. She will make you laugh. She will make you think. She will make you like think about life in a way you haven't thought about it before. She tells you the beginning, the middle, the end. She really gives life to the characters. You feel as though you were there. Her imagery is great. And so what we can start doing is when you are listening to someone and you're hearing them speak and you love it, what do you love about it? When you're listening to someone and they're putting you to sleep, why are they putting you to sleep? And when you are watching a movie or a television show, which characters are you drawn to and why? Which characters repel you and why? And then think through what can you learn from that so that you can become better at your craft as well. And look back at, times where you spoke. Look at great pastors, look at movement leaders, look at people who have a great following. Look at Jesus. What did he do? Parables. Why did he use parables versus just coming out and telling us exactly what to do? When he communicated to people, why did he communicate in that way? Who did he use? Who didn't he use? Who did he say he loves? Who did he say he despises? Let life teach you. Once you open your eyes to that, you can start to get better. But every single person who has a skill develops that skill. It looks natural, but even for me, for the trial, I practiced that opening statement that I did several times to myself, to my husband, to whomever else I could practice that opening statement to. We did mock trials. I was spending those 18 to 25-hour days, and I would watch every other trial lawyer who was seen as like great. I would just watch them, watch what they do, watch their mannerisms. So you have to really become relentless about getting the information you need to really be great. And then all of a sudden, the world becomes your teacher.
Then, how did you, as you were watching different ones trying to hone your craft, how did you not allow their voice to become yours? How did you maintain who you are, but kind of add their skills to what you were already building upon within yourself?
That's a really good point. So, first of all, it would have to be thought and then confidence. So what typically happens when we don't believe in our own voice is that we have to adopt the voice of someone else because we're like, well, they're better than us, or they know more than us, or they're smarter than us, or they're richer than us. And the first belief system that you have to develop is that just because someone has more than me, it doesn't mean they are more than me. And like I'm worthy regardless of external circumstances. Like money goes up and down, looks go up and down, weight goes up and down, all the things that go up and down, that can't define you. I am great because I am a child of God. That's where my confidence always comes from. And so because I'm great and God made me great, everything else that I learn should help me to enhance the voice that I naturally have. So when I learn all these different things, I can't just copy it or mimic it. I have to learn it and then I have to think, okay, well, what did I think about that? Do I really like that? Do I enjoy that? Do I not enjoy that? And so often when we're developing any skill set, I find that people are scared to critique people who they put on a pedestal. But it's like Martin Luther King was an amazing orator, but there could be a piece of his speech that I'm like, I would have done that a little bit differently. But I love the essence of what he did throughout his entire life and throughout every speech he gave. But it's okay to just think through it. So don't just mimic it, but really think about it, and know who you are. So my signature speech is the currency of confidence. And it's about the
I like the
mindset.
way that sounds. See, I like the
Yes.
title. What?
Yes.
What?
Yes, the currency of confidence. And it is, the formula is your mindset, beliefs, and your actions. So what I believe is that you can print the lifestyle you want. But I think people teach manifestation a little bit wrong. And I'm not a big like manifestation person, but there are some elements of it that make sense to me. So like mindset, your thoughts, the things that you think every single day cement into your beliefs. So if I have the thought process of like, man, I really desire to be a speaker, that thought won't make me a speaker until I believe that I am a professional speaker. Well, if I believe that I am a professional speaker, then my actions are going to align with that belief system. So you aren't what you think, but you are what you believe. So once you're like, I'm a speaker, then you start taking speaking classes, reading books about speaking. You start looking at other speakers. And when you believe that you can learn from anyone and everything, whether you agree with them or not, then the world can become your teacher. But if you're closed minded, you won't learn from everyone. So there are opportunities for all of us to utilize our voice to generate revenue, to change people's lives, and to change people's hearts. But if you don't believe that as a belief system, you won't even see the opportunities, which is why some people see problems everywhere and other people see opportunities everywhere. It's because of the belief system. So that's what the currency of confidence is about. So it's not just like, I'm less than all these great people, so I just have to copy them. But it's like, no, I'm great and they're great. So I can learn from them, and I can make sure that I'm not copying them by thinking about what do I like and what don't I like about what they're doing, and allowing me to have the power to critique even those that are really, really great.
Yeah, good advice. So Ashley, I was a pretty decent football player in high school, and then later as an adult, I came back to that same high school as a coach. And during the summertime, we have summer camp leading up to the season, and during that time, you're practicing with shorts and t-shirts on. You don't have any pads or equipment on, and so everybody looks great in t-shirts and shirt. They look super fast. They look super smooth. But then comes the point where you put on the equipment and then you get hit for the first time. And it's that first hit that determines as to whether or not maybe this football thing ain't for me. Maybe I should go play something else. So for some people, they may have been like told they should be a speaker. Maybe they've, practiced in the mirror, maybe just in their head. They've been looking at people trying to get their voice together. Is there a value to putting yourself out there? Because I've heard people say, just go do a bunch of free speaking to kind of get those reps in. That's similar to putting the pads on for the first time and going out there and feeling it in real time. What's your advice for somebody who is saying, I want to speak, I'm ready to give this a shot? How should they go out there and get some reps under their belt?
So there's two trains of thought for this. Number one, I would say congrats on identifying the problem, because so often we think of like fear or a problem in the wrong way. Whereas I think of problems like, this is dope. I've identified this problem. This problem has the potential to become a skill of mine as long as I overcome the problem. And if you have a fear of speaking or a fear of being rejected, this is great, because now you have an opportunity to develop a skill if you can see it as a problem that can become a skill. Like once you overcome it, once you overcome that fear of like, oh, they're going to reject me, then you have a skill set, resilience. You know what I mean? So it's great to identify the problem. So I would say look at it as like, this is a potential skill that I just haven't developed yet, and I have the ability to develop. But when you want to start as a speaker, so there's two types of speakers. There are people who just want to speak. They just want to speak to speak. Like they want to be heard. They want to get their voice out there. They want to get their message out there. A lot of the people that we work with in Speak Your Way to Cash, they want to make it a business. So they want to get paid to speak. So to you, I would say if you're in the latter category, you want to get paid to speak. You want this to be a revenue stream. You want to impact some lives, but you also want to increase your income. Then you should start at the top of the speaking market instead of working your way up from the bottom. So the sub title of our book is how to start at the top of the speaking market instead of working your way up from the bottom, because we want you to take all of your experience and stand on top of it. Our initial inclination is like, I'm new at this. Let me work for free for years. Let me get a whole lot of reps. Whereas I'm like, no, no, no. Don't leave all your experience in the past. Pull all that to your new venture. So if you are a teacher, for instance, we work with a lot of teachers. If you're a teacher and you're an educator and you're someone who has gotten in front of a classroom thousands of times, then you would present yourself as like, hey, I may go in as an education consultant. I'm going to go and help schools and school districts to teach teachers how to better engage students. So you wouldn't want to do that for free. You'd want to start reaching out to superintendents or potentially principals and say, hey, I have developed a system for increasing engagement, even in the most disengaged classrooms. And I'd want to teach your teachers how to do that because we don't know what's coming in the future. We've already survived a pandemic. I want to arm them with the tools that I've used over my last decade of teaching experience to increase engagement. And I've put it all together in a formula, and this is how I want to do it. And you would pitch that, and you may pitch it at like $100,000 for 3 sessions. Like the rate isn't the big thing. The big thing is like start having the sales conversation. And I know people are like, wait, sales? I thought we were just talking about speaking. The only way you get to speak is if you sell the speech. So if you're trying to get paid from speaking. So the skill that you have to develop is sales if you want to get that speech in front of enough people. And because I work, I don't know how your audience is, but I work with a lot of people who are like ministers and they are really heart-centered. And I always tell them, like, care enough about the people that you're called to help that you'll develop whatever skill set is necessary to reach those people. And that skill set is going to be sales. So you want to start having those sales conversations. And if you're just starting out, don't go cold, go warm. So go in your phone and tell at least 100 people that are already in your phone what you're trying to do and see whether they can connect you with any superintendents or principals of high schools. It could be their kids' high school. It could be anyone's high school. But with those warm introductions, you'll be able to start having those sales conversations and get in front of people that way. And if you need to do something complimentary or for free, you should not go and just, I don't think you should go and speak for free, but you could host a free event of your own for decision makers. So you flip it. So I wouldn't go out and like, oh, let me go and speak all these places for free, but I would invite maybe 100 or 200 principals or school districts to a virtual webinar that I'm hosting where I'm revealing this framework to them. And I don't reveal all of it, but I reveal top level what I'm going to be talking about. And then at the end, I say, if this was great for you and if you enjoyed it, I would love to have a conversation about how I can help more people do this exact thing in your classroom. Book a call with me here. And now your calendar is filled. Now you've gotten experience. Now you can ask all of them to give you a testimonial. And you didn't just go speak for free. You went and had a sales event that will fill your pipeline with additional leads. So that's what we call the invite method. So you want to start thinking about like, I'm not just a speaker. I own a speaking and consulting firm. And so I want to build up my client base to the degree where I can go out and do what I love, but also get paid for it so that I'm not burnt out by giving my gift away.
Man, that was so good. I mean, you gave a whole strategy right there, man. Dang, I told y'all to have your notes ready because the info was coming. I'm Ashley, speak to this because I know it's in the back of people's minds. Is this still viable post-pandemic? Because the whole world got shut down and live events are not at the level that they were. They're getting back to where they were, but some people might be saying like, is it still the opportunities? Are they still there to create a business around speaking?
Yeah, I think the opportunities are even greater. So when the pandemic first hit, the first thing that happened for our business is we lost like $30,000 in like a couple weeks. And that was scary because we were doing a lot of in-person stuff. And if you all recall, I was doing virtual coaching and virtual speaking and virtual sales conversations, but we were typically being booked to speak in person. So when the pandemic hit, all of my college clients pulled all their events. And so that was a little bit scary. But I was like, okay, they're still going to need to serve college students. There's still going to be events. People are going to have to get back on the horse eventually. And so y'all know I'm a lawyer. I could have been like, I'm enforcing this contract. You all have to pay me anyways. You agree, blah, 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 blah. But instead, I decided to serve. I was like, it's cool. Let me know what's going on. Let me know when you all have more information. I sent them emails. I stayed in touch with them. I would comment on their LinkedIn posts. And eventually they came back around and wanted to do a virtual event. And they ended up doubling their contracts. I think it was like triple their contracts value with me because we stayed in touch. And when it went virtual, we were actually able to make more money because whereas if I go somewhere in person, I can't control what people are doing in the room, whether they bring their own videographer and record it. I can tell them not to, but sometimes people do that. But when it was virtual, I hosted it on my own Zoom platform. They did not get the recording, and I was able to license the replays of that speech to them for an additional fee. So I was able to make more when the pandemic hit than less. All because, again, what did we say earlier? A problem can become a skill set if you see it as an opportunity. So like for me, it
One
was like, okay,
more time for the people in the back, please.
yes, a problem can become a skill set if you see it as an opportunity. So while every other speaker was like, oh my goodness, this is going to work, da, 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 we have to, everyone else was like lowering their rates for virtual. And I was like, no, no, no. If this is virtual, this is infinitely more valuable if you can see it. If your people in Canada can see it, if your people in Australia can see it, if your people in South Africa can see it, because they're all on different time zones. So I'm going to get better at selling licensing packages versus just talking to them about a one-time in-person speech. So this really presented a great opportunity. And now I get to have my own virtual events and have people from all over the world come and charge for my own virtual events and speak on my own stages that I can have a stage by opening Zoom and inviting my email list to it. And so we got really serious about digital marketing, building our own virtual stages, speaking from our own stages and selling our products and services, making sure that we were having the licensing conversation every single time. So a problem for a lot of people became a skill set of ours that we were then able to teach our audience because we didn't allow it to stay a problem in our own minds. We started figuring out like, how can this be an opportunity for us? How can this become a skill set? So I think there's more opportunities. And now people are used to it. They're used to Zoom. They're used to virtual. So you don't have to do the hard work of telling people why virtual is the way to go. You literally are just living in the world that that's already been created for us, and your opportunities are endless. So now, here's the other benefit. Okay, so pre-pandemic, everyone expected me to come in person. Post-pandemic, you're going to have to pay me to come in person. Like really, really pay me to leave my house because I like being at home. I like my house. I like sitting at my computer. Like I like being able to go see my daughter. Like when I travel, it's me, my husband, my daughter, our nanny, like everybody got to travel. I can stay home, save all that travel money, do the speech just as good and call it a day. So now we're able to charge more to go back in person because we know the value of doing it from home. And I don't have to give you my whole day. I can give you the 2 hours you paid for versus when you pay me to come in person, I got to charge you for the whole day because I can't do any other work while I'm traveling.
Legal and General America is the leader in low-cost term life insurance.
For nearly 70 years, Legal and General America has been providing financial protection to over 1.3 million families and businesses.
LGA makes understanding and applying for life insurance easy.
You can get a free quote by simply going to hisandhermoney.com/LGA.
So are you saying that people could potentially build a speaking business virtually from home?
Yes. And you should. You should just add it as a revenue stream, if nothing else. So if you have another business where you're thriving and doing excellent, why not make that an opportunity for other people to learn how you're doing that and just speak virtually to other people's audiences, upsell your products, and or just go in and get paid to speak, even if you don't sell anything at the end. But there's two ways to speak. So I can come in, you can pay me to speak. I don't make any offers to your audience further, but like you're just paying me for my time. Or I can go to an event and speak in front of 2,000-3,000 people and offer them a product or a service that can benefit their audience, and I get paid from the audience. So I tell my clients, you can get paid from the organizer or from the audience. So if someone asks me to speak for free, I have to believe that I will get 2 times my set speaking fee from the audience within 30 days. So then if that's the analysis, then that's a good decision for me to go and do that engagement. But if I don't believe that, then I may not go and do that engagement for free. So you're not just doing stuff just to do it. Like everything has to make sense when you're thinking about it from a business perspective. So like, okay, how many people will be there? What's my average customer acquisition cost is about $150 per customer that comes into our world. That's what we spend on ads and marketing. So if I can go to your event and acquire a certain amount of customers for less than that, maybe I speak for free. But I'm not just doing it just to be seen. And I think that's where speakers lose a lot of steam and lose a lot of money is like they just desire to be seen so much that every opportunity is a good opportunity. You have to believe you have so much value and so much worth that like regardless of whether the world sees you, you're still valuable. That way you can't be manipulated into making decisions that are not sound for your business.
Yo, you said something that kind of jumped out to me because earlier you talked about, one way that we can kind of find our message. We can jump on Facebook and ask everybody, hey, what's 3 words that come to mind when you think about me? But a few minutes ago, you mentioned LinkedIn. Now, I don't think that comes to people's brains immediately when you're talking about social media engagement. What part has LinkedIn play, or what part is LinkedIn playing for your clients when it comes to getting gigs?
LinkedIn is huge. So we literally just got one of the companies that reached out to us recently was Crate and Barrel, corporate. And I was like, how did this woman find me? She's like, you come in and do this speech. I was like, how did she find me? Literally, I go back to my LinkedIn and look at her name. I sent her a LinkedIn message in 2020. Y'all, it's 2022. So every day we were sending out, when we first started our business, LinkedIn messages like 10 to 50 a day every single day. Now, LinkedIn has gotten super strict about how you use it and how many messages you can send out. So now we're taking more of a organic marketing approach. But every single week, I'm engaging on LinkedIn, or someone on my team is engaging on LinkedIn because it's a great way to attract clients. And we've attracted both coaching clients and corporate clients. But some of our largest contracts have come from LinkedIn, either our LinkedIn posts or our direct outreach. I love getting in the LinkedIn DMs, just going straight to the decision makers, asking them directly to work with us, like going straight there. That's typically what we're doing on LinkedIn.
So, okay, this lady reached out to you. What, based on what? Like, are you on LinkedIn, like adding value, creating videos, posts to kind of demonstrate that you have this knowledge? And then she's like, who is this? And then went to your page and like, yo, she might be like, what proactively are you doing? I know you said you're messaging people via LinkedIn's rules or whatever. So, what's the other game plan there? Like, why, how come they're, after you message them, how come they like, yeah, here's the contract?
Yeah, so I would say it's interesting because a lot of our content now, because we're leading up to Speak Get Ready Cash Live, is centered towards people who want to get paid to speak versus our corporate clients. But our LinkedIn profile is optimized for corporate still. So like our byline is like helping leaders overcome imposter syndrome to achieve results, because that's what the currency of confidence is. So they're literally using LinkedIn as a search engine for imposter syndrome speakers. And my bio is coming up because of that I help statement that's in the top of your LinkedIn profile. So making sure that all of that is optimized, that it says you're a keynote speaker. We have some featured posts, which are our TEDx talks. So for every framework that I've developed, we have done a TEDx talk for it. So the currency of confidence is a TEDx talk. So you all can Google the currency of confidence TEDx and see my TEDx talk on it. So when I'm reaching out to people via LinkedIn, I don't send a speaker's reel or anything like that. I just send my TEDx talk. And I'm like, hey, this is what I speak on. Check out the recent TEDx I did on this. And then if you want any more information, let me know. Or I may just add value. And then I follow up the next day, like, hey, did you get a chance to check it out? But we've landed almost all of our corporate contracts this year just from TEDx. Just sending out the TEDx talk, not a speaker's reel, not like a ton of testimonials. Just we send out the TEDx talk and we get on the phone. Another company, a large cigarette company, the person that makes Marlboro cigarettes reached out, hey, can you speak on imposter syndrome? We see that you speak on that just from the profile, not even a whole lot of articles on it. They just saw it was in the profile. They saw a lot of I go live on LinkedIn. So they saw my LinkedIn lives and they were like, we like your vibe. This will be good. Can you come in? And literally what I was talking about on the lives was just mindset stuff to help my audience believe in themselves more. And that was enough. It wasn't even geared towards corporations, but that with the profile being optimized, with them being able to go to my website and then they Google you, companies will Google you, y'all. So like have your group, like know what's out there on you. For a while I did a podcast and it was like called the like it was someone else's podcast, but her podcast name had HE double hockey sticks in it. And like schools were like, hey, you were on this podcast called this. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, don't judge me. And I didn't even think of like that, but that was, she had really good SEO on her podcast. So we've done dozens of podcasts, like, I don't know, probably 30, 40, 50. And then we have our own podcast, but that was what came up because of the SEO. So you just have to know what's out there, but they will Google you. So we update our LinkedIn with like press features, all those things. And we teach something called the paid methodology to help get yourself visibility and start landing these contracts. But the P in the paid method is press. So you want to be on TV or print, or at least write your own LinkedIn articles so that when people are trying to figure out what do you believe in, what are you good at, what do you talk about, they can have some evidence. You need some third-party validation that you are who you say you are.
Man, okay. So I know that a big part, because you just mentioned, even for you to this day, you're reaching out, right? You're putting it out there to folks. And sometimes they hit right away. Sometimes it can hit a couple of years later. So it sounds like pitching is a big, super important part of getting it. It doesn't just magically happen. These gigs don't just magically show up. You got to be proactive with the pitch. And so some people are like, okay, where do I begin? How do I start? And I know you teach that. You got a challenge coming up around that. So talk about the pitch and why we got to get this nailed down.
Yeah, the pitch is critical. And we've taken literally this year, probably thousands of speakers through our Pitch Your Way to Cash challenge. And what I will say to anyone is this: do it wrong before you do it right. Like, you have to get comfortable with just putting, like, whatever you think you can do that at this time. So you may think like, all right, I'm gonna reach out. I don't really know what to say. What do you think you should say? Say that. Like say that, because literally if I'm not in your ear telling you exactly what to say, you'll get stuck. So we of course have scripts. Like anyone, you can be like, hey, Sarah, I noticed that we both care about helping students grow. I have a talk that I do around blah, blah, blah. I would love to bring it to your school, but check out what I did last year for another school and let me know if you find any interest. Like, you could say something like that, but really, like, we've had people reach out wrong and land engagements. And literally, I've seen people go from, I've never pitched a day in my life, to, oh my God, this works. And then they realize, oh, it doesn't really matter what I say, but I need to say something, because if I don't say anything, no one's going to know about me. And eventually what happens is you start to build up steam and momentum. But as a general rule, when you first reach out, you want it to be all about them. So I never give people a long bio about me. I never start off with, hi, my name's Ashley. I have been in Forbes this many times and I write for Entrepreneur and I, because they don't care about you yet. They don't even know who you are. You could be a total scammer. So like, they don't know. And like, people are very skeptical right now. You got people duplicating Instagram profiles. You got people sending out, it's just wild out here in this internet stuff. So people don't care about you. They care about them. So when you first start off an email pitch to someone, it needs to be about them. Like, hey, Sarah, last week you posted blank, blank, and blank. I thought that was so insightful. I found this article that you may find value in. I wanted to make sure I shot it over before I forgot. And that could be it. You didn't even ask her for anything yet, because my general rule with relationships is, how can I serve first? Like, whenever I meet people, I'm always trying to think like, okay, how can I add value to them? Can I share a post? Can I introduce them to someone? Can I give them something of value? Can I just send them? Sometimes I'll just send people my book just because they want it. Like, how can you add value to them so that when you need something, or when you want something, or when you believe you can help them, then you don't have any qualms about asking them about it. But the truth of the matter is, and this is the analogy I give. So for everyone at home, think about this. If you are driving on the side of the road and you see somebody with a flat tire, and you got like 2 or 3 spares because you're just super prepared. When you pull over to offer them that tire, are you like worried that they're going to be mad about it? No. Why? Because they need it. So if you have something that people need, you should never feel bad about asking them, can they take advantage of it? Because honestly, you're doing it more for them than for you. Sure, we want to make money in business, but honestly, I'm going to make money whether any one client says no to me or not. So it's not like I need that one client to say yes, or else my whole business is over. I just want to help all of the right people that I can. So I'm going to go hard with selling and marketing and positioning and getting better at storytelling, because everyone that I should be helping, I want to make sure they know about me. There are some people that, I can't help. That's fine. But everyone that I should be helping, it's my job to make sure they at least know enough about me that they can make that right decision. And the same is true for you, because you have something good. And that's the first thing you have to believe, that you have something good. Like, if you believe it's good and you believe it can help people, and then you get really great at figuring out who exactly it can have the biggest transformation for, then you're going to be excited to tell them about it. Like, I never feel bad being like, yeah, this is what it is, it's what it costs, because I know and I've seen how it can change people's lives. So that's the first step, have something good. The second step is really, really care and think about, what value can I add to them? What are they caring about? What are they worried about that I can help them with? What do they find value in? And then you want to serve first. And after that, you may open up an additional conversation. But the last thing I'll say about this is, like, you want to make sure, or in this, unless you ask me something else, you want to make sure that you are inviting so many people to work with you that if one person says no, it doesn't deflate your entire year. Like, a lot of people are so scared of no's because they're not getting enough of them. So you're like, I can't get this no because it's the only thing I got on the line. It's the only deal I got. Whereas I'm like, I run ads. Like, I will reach millions of people this year. So your one no, it don't compare to like the millions of people I'm going to reach this year. So you have to make sure that you're not setting yourself up for failure. Like, oh, I need this one deal to close. You should be pitching consistently and significantly enough that one no does not stop your show.
What about 3 no's? Like, how do you deal with it? And I know that, you're on the other side of going through no's, but somebody about to get their first couple no's after they go through your pitch your way to cash challenge. How do you internally prepare yourself to get that no, or to get that non-response?
I won't say that no's don't hurt, but I will say, if you go out and get, like, for me, one of the jobs I had before law school was I was an inside sales rep. So I did 20,000 sales calls at that job. I got 19,000 no's. Like, every day I had to make 120 calls, and I would maybe get 5 people to say maybe. You know what I'm saying? So I was rejected so much that I became kind of immune to it. And it became a blessing for me, because I feel like it made me a little bit of rejection proof. And what I started to realize is, they're not rejecting me anyways. They're rejecting my offer. So how did I get better at getting less no's? Was I got better at making offers. So yeah, you may say no to me this way, but like, you're not rejecting me, you're rejecting my offer. So how can I make sure that I'm targeting the right people, that I'm positioning it in a way where they want to say yes? And then I need to analyze why they're saying no. Because if you just, like, offense is such a thief, because it robs you of seeing opportunities. So if I'm offended by the no, then I'm like, oh, she said no because she's ridiculous. She doesn't understand the value. Versus being like, man, what made this unappealing to you? Like, you've already said no, I don't want anything else from you. I just want to get better for the next person. Like, what made this unappealing for you? And then they start telling you, well, my business actually closed down. I don't even have a business anymore. Like, that's why, I couldn't take advantage of this anyway. So now I have data. So now I'm thinking, well, why did I call you anyways? Like, what about my targeting was off, so that I can actually reach the people that I'm supposed to help? So you want to honestly, you have to start looking at no's as stairs versus a closed door. So I look at every no as like a stair. Like, okay, I got to know this is getting me closer to my yes. And I knew eventually, after 100 no's in a day, I'm going to get 5 yeses every day. Like, that's just going to happen just off the data. Like, data shows, if you reach out to people cold, 3 to 5%, 1 to 3% will convert at some level. So if I just keep going up the stairs of getting these no's, it's going to get me closer to my yes. But if you see no's as a closed door, this is a sign I shouldn't do this, then your mind does not start to imagine the different opportunities and possibilities. So no's are a stair. They're not a closed door. And I would put a T on the end of those no's, like, not yet. You know what I mean? It's not a no forever, but you have to let the no's teach you, or else you won't get better. But the only way to get over rejection is to go out and get it.
Ashley, you just be saying stuff. Hold on. What you just say? You said the nose got to teach me?
Yes, the no's have to teach you. If they don't, you will not interpret the data well. So you know this because you're a minister, you're a pastor. When pastors would teach on the Bible, I remember sitting in church being like, how do they even know what the Hebraic and the Greek and the Arabic? I'd be like looking at my Bible, like, I don't see any key here. I didn't know anything about this. And my husband was like, well, it's because, there's a Strong's Concordance and you could do this. And then I went and got a Strong's Concordance, y'all. And I'm not at that level. So I got this big old book and I was like, I don't know what this means. Like, what are these numbers? And then I met another guy and I was telling him about my Strong's Concordance confusion. And he was like, well, there's an app, Ashley. There's an app you can get. And it actually will just tell you what the different interpretations are of it. What is the name of this app? Sword LT, eSword LT. I'm not an affiliate, but he heard about my problem, but he saw my desire to get better at reading the Bible. And then all of a sudden a solution appeared. And I just met this guy at a business conference. It was not about the Bible or anything, but because I didn't let the no be well, that means you're not supposed to understand the Hebraic. It's only for the higher up ministers. Because that was my desire and that rejection, I felt rejected. I don't get it. The opportunities and the lessons were just coming and different people were helping me and I learned about more. And so now I have an app. I don't even got to go through the whole thing, but it really does help. So I would say the no's have to teach you. If you look, y'all, this is what I figured out. It's not that you're not smart or you're not gifted or you're not willing. It's just that you have to learn how to interpret things better. What if your whole life you've been interpreting it wrong? Just be open-minded to that possibility. What if it's not everyone else's fault? What if you are really gifted at the things that you thought you were bad at? What if you were only bad at it because it was supposed to teach you a different way to learn it so you could go and help someone else to learn it better? What if every obstacle in your life was just to get you to understand something on a deeper level so you could help someone else understand it on a deeper level? What if all of it is supposed to teach us? What if everything in the world is just to make you who you need to be to impact the people you say you want to impact? What if we just have to get good at interpreting rejection, at interpreting sadness, at interpreting hurt, at interpreting offense? Because once we get good at interpreting, we get access to a higher level of insight that will help us change the world.
Reverend Ashley Kirkwood, ladies and gentlemen. So you got this pitch challenge coming up because people are fired up. I think people are inspired enough to know that they have something within them that could be a blessing to the world if they engage it, if they set it up properly. So how can they link arms with you through this pitch challenge and kind of get the ball rolling on their calling?
Definitely. So you all can go to pitchyourwaytocash.com. pitchyourwaytocash.com. Pitchyourwaytocash.com, exactly as it sounds, and register for the challenge. And just click on there that you learned of us from the His and Her Money show, and we will get you situated. And if you want to get a VIP ticket or a higher level ticket, use code MONEY, and we'll go ahead and give you 50% off that ticket type.
Come on, bless the people, Ashley.
Yes.
Thank you. So,
yes,
okay,
absolutely.
As we land this plane, there may be somebody who made it to this point in the show and they were on an emotional high, and now somebody's whispering in their ear about their ability to make this a reality. I know Ashley did it. I don't know if I can do it. And maybe they're starting to come down. Maybe fear is starting to creep in. Maybe doubt starting to creep in. How would you encourage that person if you had a chance to talk to them one-on-one?
I would say you are in the same position as our clients who came to us. Literally, most of my clients find me on a podcast like this, and they hear one thing that just piques their interest. They're not even totally sold on it being a possibility, but then they take a step. Maybe they read the book, they listen to the podcast, they take some type of a step. And then after that step, they take another step. And so what I would say to you is we have had clients who did not have college degrees land 5-figure licensing deals. We had a client who had made negative $500 speaking who landed her first 6-figure contract within 6 months of working with us. We've had clients who their first ever speaking contract was $60,000. These are real stories. And she was an educator. She said the contract was more than she made in a year. And she also talks about publicly how people in her life closest to her were saying, you can't do this. Entrepreneurship won't work for you. It didn't work for me. But she just kept taking a step. And so I would say follow your desires. If this is something that is interesting to you, you owe it to your future to at least learn about whether or not it is a possibility for you. But I don't, like, if you are a believer, like, you could do all things through Christ who strengthens you. So whenever I feel like I can't do something, I realize I'm relying only on my own strength. And that keeps me focused, like, okay, I don't have to do this alone. I don't have to figure these things out alone. I don't have to go through life alone. So if you desire it, you can do things, you can do whatever you want to do. If it's a righteous desire, why wouldn't it work for you? Why not me? Why not me? And don't divorce yourself from success. Like, as a success principle, never divorce yourself from success. If you see someone doing
Ashley. What did you just say?
Never divorce yourself from success.
Wow. So you can get a divorce from the success.
Absolutely. And we do it every day. Like, if I want to start a tech company, but I see Mark Zuckerberg, if I'm like, well, Mark is white. I mean, he has privilege. Mark, he went to Harvard. Like, he's really smart. He has a business partner. I don't have, like, everything I'm saying that I'm not like someone that I would like to, be like. I'm literally just divorcing myself from success and giving myself a way out so that I don't disappoint myself in the future. Whereas instead I could be like, man, Mark made Facebook. I like Facebook. We're similar in that regard. Like, we both bleed red blood. We both go to sleep at night. We both have to eat. Like, there are always ways for you to find similarities with people whose achievements you want to mirror, or you want to at least start on the same path as them. So we are more alike than we are different. And find those similarities to encourage you that you can do it too, but do not divorce yourself from success. It's not going to get you where you want to go.
Man. All right. There it is. My gosh. Tell the people how to keep up with you on social media, please.
Yes, definitely. You can find me on Instagram at the Ashley Nicole Show. Join me in our Facebook group, Speak Your Way to Cash Facebook group. I'm always in that group hanging out. And if you Google Speak Your Way to Cash, all of our stuff will come up. Our website is speakyourwaytocash.com. We're Speak Your Way to Cash on Instagram and Speak Your Way to Cash on Facebook as well.
Ashley, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and drop all these nuggets of wisdom on the audience today. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another fantastic edition of the His and Her Money Show is in the books. I tried to warn you ahead of time so that you can have what you needed to take good notes. If you missed the opportunity to take good notes, hit the rewind, listen again. Lots of strategy and wisdom was given today. Now it's up to you. The ball's in your court. What are you going to do with it? You got these gifts, these talents, these abilities within you. You got a message. You have something that could help someone else. Are you going to continue to sit on it, or are you going to put the things in place necessary to get your message, get your voice out to the world? We highly encourage you to let Ashley guide you. All the information that she mentioned is in the show notes. Take her up on a pitch challenge and see how far you can go. That's all we got for this time, guys. It's been great. Until next time, peace.